You're watching Beyond Market. Welcome, I'm Esther Awuni. Many thanks for joining us. On today's show, the CEO at Dubai Tourism tells us why Dubai should be the top tourism destination for Africans. As always, remember to connect with us. Just use the hashtag Beyond Market. You can also send your thoughts, your comments to my Twitter handle too, at Esther O. Awuni. Data from Dubai Tourism shows that a total of 9.58 million international guests visited Dubai as of July 2019. That's this year. Now, only Egypt and Nigeria made the cut for the top 20 source markets for Dubai. Now, the CEO of Dubai Tourism, Issam Kazim, joins me now to discuss why Africans should pick Dubai as their top tourist destination. Kazim, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Pleasure to be here.
First of all, I would like to start, because I know it's your first time here in Nigeria, yes. And I know a lot of Nigerians have, been to Dubai. We all have our stories. I've been to Dubai, and, yes, I had a wonderful experience. But let me ask you, being here in Nigeria for the first time, what's been your experience so far?
I've said this to everyone that I've met. It's the first thing that strikes me is the warm, welcoming nature, the way that the people embrace you here. The minute they find out that it's my first time, the first thing they say is welcome home. And that really resonates with me. And it's something that I've told everyone that I've come across, that it's such a strong message that automatically makes you feel welcome at home. And the other thing that really stood out for me, besides the amazing business events and stuff that I've been to in the meetings, is the food. You guys love spicy food. I love spicy food.
Do.
So that's amazing.
That's just a good match. I know that Dubai takes tourism very seriously. I mean, one, as a tourist, being in Dubai, the whole atmosphere, you can just feel it, that, this is a country that puts a premium on tourism. And I know that, and obviously seeing you going outside of Dubai to push this tourism message and agenda. But tell us, what is the strategy? Why is Dubai more than ever now pushing its tourism?
First of all, I hope that premium, you meant premium experience, but not premium on price, because that's key for us as well.
All of it.
But I think, look, you're absolutely right. I mean, if you look back historically, Dubai hasn't been relying on oil as many people might presume. The country is oil rich, yes, but Dubai has always pushed tourism as its number one export. We hit our 10 million mark in around 2013, and it was a landmark moment for us. But at that point, we decided that we need a clear-cut strategy to take us to the next level, right? And that was for the next period of time. And for us, that meant we can't just continue to rely on the 6 or 7 traditionally strong markets for us. We want to make sure we maintain the share there, but we put a clear-cut strategy to drive us towards becoming the number one most visited city in the world. We moved up when the strategy was announced. We were number 7. We quickly moved up to number 5, and then we've retained number 4 while growing steadily year on year. We hit close to 16 million in 2018, and we've seen almost a 3.5% growth for the first half of this year. The strategy clearly mapped out the top 20 countries that we should be focusing on, while keeping an eye on the next 20 countries as well, because we need to understand how the economics are changing within certain countries, because some of them might all of a sudden appear on the list, and we should be in there with our campaigns, with our messaging, building strong trade relationships on the ground so that we can capitalize on that.
Now, I know that for you, I mean, the vision, you have a 2025 vision, and that is to achieve 25 million tourists by 2025. Are you on track to achieving that?
The thing is, we set these targets for ourselves, and they're always ambitious. And the thing is, yes, I mean, given the current circumstances, I would say we are well on track to achieve those numbers. But again, we're in a very dynamic environment. And when you look at it from the industry, we're in a very dynamic industry as well. Lots of things change over short periods of time. So the strategy that we mapped out for ourselves gives us the flexibility, the agility that's needed for us to quickly switch focus from one market to another, and also to be able to invest maybe more in markets that we see potential growing even faster than we had anticipated as well. But what's even more important, the reason why we are able to do this is because we've established strong relationships with the trade on the ground, because we cannot do this without our airline partners, for example. Sure. And not only the local airline partners, because again, they might have limitations in terms of the ambitions that we have. So Dubai Airports has an open skies policies, which then encourages us to work with local carriers from the other markets to bring them with more capacity into Dubai. So these things help us. Then having relationship with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or Ministry of Interior, who are amazingly cooperative, and we've been able to change visa policies year on year, making it easier and easier for people to come to Dubai. Nigerians now can come to Dubai by getting a visa within, let's say, 2 working days, in the comfort of their own home, applying online. No need to go to travel agents or go to embassies or queue or submit so many different documentations. Because we know, if we're saying we're a warm and hospitable destination that has the ambition to become the #1 destination, we need to show that. We need to also walk the walk if we're doing the talk as well.
For the African market, tell us why the African market is important to Dubai tourism. And 1, 2, I know that obviously you also know that Nigeria is the biggest market on the African continent. What is your Nigeria strategy?
If you look at Africa as a whole, so when we mapped out the strategy, we knew the potential of growth that's coming in, given the economic factors, given the proximity, and also given ease of travel as well as affinity, I would say, with the product of Dubai. Dubai as a destination is proud to represent close to 200 different nationalities that call Dubai home. And the reason why they call Dubai home is because each one of them finds something uniquely relevant to them. And with that on offer, we know that with the reach that Emirates Airlines has, Etihad and others have within Africa, it makes it easier for people to travel into Dubai. And again, with the inroads that we have built with a lot of the carriers from Africa to travel to Dubai, again, it's becoming much easier. We know that when it comes to the offerings of the destination itself, retail in itself is something that's, I think, huge for a lot of Africans and for Nigerians. And Dubai has established itself off the back of the Dubai Shopping Festival, which will be celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. So I think that's a landmark moment for us. So we have a lot of huge celebrations that we have in plan for that 1 month long period for the festival. But not only that, we didn't rest at that. We continue to add more and more events. We added Dubai Summer Surprises. We added Dubai Food Festival to celebrate the gastronomy scene. We added the Dubai Fitness Challenge. And now Dubai boasts a calendar that has about 20 odd retail events throughout the year. So people can come at any given time to celebrate
every time
and enjoy
is high
shopping.
season. Every time is a good season
100%.
to come to Dubai. Now, just looking at back to the numbers for Africa, I mean, having a slice of the pie, it's just about 5% as of July this year. I'm just wondering, I mean, 5%, just looking at it, you know, taking a step back might seem like a not significant number. I'm just wondering how fast or how much higher could you climb from that 5%?
If you look at it from a percentage point as well, then let's look at the 3.5% that I spoke about.
Okay.
The first half of the year, we saw 3.5% growth from the global travelers, key source markets to Dubai. However, Africa as a region saw 9.1% growth in comparison, right?
Okay.
Nigeria was the second globally in its growth. It achieved over 28% growth, second only to Oman, which is a neighboring country. So then you look at Ethiopia, it's 27.5% growth there as well. So you can see that some of these countries might be starting off from a small base. But now, with the networks that we're building in market within those markets, and with the growth of the airline and capacity, the potential is there. And we can see the appetite is there. So that's why we need to make sure that everything that we're working on a ground level in Dubai is being leveraged by the market in itself. So one of the things that we did as part of the strategy was launch a Dubai College for Tourism, because we wanted to make sure that the service levels at a certain standard, that people enjoy what they see and they come back again and again. Part of that program, we also launched something called the Dubai Expert program. Dubai Expert is a online gamified approach that people can download it on iPad or an iPhone and really have an enjoyable experience while they're educating and training and developing themselves to become better sales reps of Dubai. Okay. So the better they sell, the more money they make, but they also can win prizes as part of that game to come and enjoy an experience in Dubai themselves. And so one of the people, just to show you how it's adapted, one of the key partners on ground here in Nigeria, the MD, she took it upon herself and she trained and developed herself. And she enjoyed that experience so much that she mandated everyone in the organization, whether they're back office, front office, sales, finance, whatever, to learn and become certified Dubai experts. And that's the kind of commitment that we want to see, because it creates that win-win situation that's beneficial for all.
Now, you also, I mean, in trying to decide, staying a step ahead of, just like, institutions, especially banks do here, trying to stay a step ahead of what the consumer wants. Sometimes consumers don't know they need something until you tell them to. But I'm just wondering, I mean, knowing what you're up against, competing against popular destinations like Paris, Disneyland, or, places in East Asia, I think Indonesia and the rest of them. I'm just wondering, how do you, in terms of mapping out and just staying ahead of what you think consumers, or rather tourists, like, compared to other places that they visit? I'm just trying to get a sense of how you want to climb to number one against those traditionally already established places that the numbers show will continue to remain number one, number two, number three.
I think that's what keeps us excited about what we do. If you look at the way Dubai has been marketing itself, it's not just about highlighting what we think people want to see. We need to conduct surveys. We need to analyze. We need to sit with the tourists and understand their behavior. We need to also look at the patterns of travel, where they go, what do they enjoy seeing, and what is it that they're seeking elsewhere. And in many cases, we can see that Dubai has world-class offerings within their interests. So when it comes to shopping, when it comes to beaches, when it comes to hotels and different accommodation styles, we know that 5-star, Dubai had amazing offerings and options on that side, and there's a market for it. But we also knew that with the growing key source markets and demographics that we're going to be going after, we need more 3- and 4-star hotels. So we put incentives in place that encourage the private sector to invest in that. But we also made it clear that even though you're building a 3- or 4-star hotel, we want to make sure that the visitors that come to Dubai still get the Dubai experience. So it might be 3-star on budget, but the experience will still be Dubai relevant. The same way when you looked at, for example, theme parks, we knew that Dubai is the prime destination in the region to have a theme park. Make it so accessible for people to enjoy world-class theme park experiences. And I'm talking about large theme parks with the most amazing, globally high standard rides that you can imagine, that the entire family can enjoy. So we made sure that that's in 3 years of the strategy being announced, we have them up and running immediately, with amazing restaurants and experience around that, and again, hotels within those vicinities as well. Then we looked at the cultural side. Now this is something that I have to take it upon myself as a native Emirati. Maybe I was also the culprit of not selling the destination from that side as much, because as Dubai was evolving, a lot of new things were coming up. We were excited to showcase all the new, but there is a market and a demand for what's old, what's cultural, what's traditional. So now we started to highlight that a lot more. We even have an amazing district in Dubai where I grew up in my grandparents' house within those areas, which have now become museums. People can go and see how we used to live, and they can see these amazing art pieces within those areas as well. We have art galleries in the middle of industrial warehouses in Dubai. Amazing, stunning art pieces that the region uses.
Sam, we're just going to take a quick break at this point. Thank you for your time so far. I'll come back and pick it from where we left off. I've been speaking to Issam Kazim. He's the CEO at Dubai Tourism Market. If you're just joining us, Issam Kazim, CEO at Dubai Tourism, is our guest today, and we're focusing on tourism in Dubai. Thank you, Issam, for your time so far.
Thank you.
Let's pick it from where we left off. Now, we've talked a lot about the tourism for the typical tourists going to Dubai. Let's talk about how you're catering. Dubai Tourism is catering to business travelers, the business side of things. What is it offering for those category of travelers?
So again, referring back to the strategy that I mentioned, we knew that there's a big percentage, a considerable percentage of travelers that come to Dubai for business. And we know that even though that they might be smaller in terms of numbers compared to the leisure ones, but we know that their contribution is significant to the GDP. So what we've done is, obviously we've got a very extensive calendar when it comes to MICE events. And we have the largest venue in the region for exhibitions, for conferences, and incentive travel. But at the same time, we also have an unbelievably busy calendar of events. So we have events around the tech world, whether it's GITEX, which has grown to such an extent where it's actually spun off to 2 events a year now. Same thing when it comes to Gulf Food, which is the largest annual food-related event, food industry event in the world. So now that also has grown to an extent where it's spun off into 2 events as well. We have Arab Health, which is an extremely popular one that's been growing strength and year on year. So there's a lot of these events that happen on an annual basis, which attracts a lot of people to come to Dubai. Many of those coming to Dubai for the first time. Many of those people coming for the first time not knowing what to expect. Those people end up becoming repeat visitors, either to come back as leisure visitors or extending their stay the next time around, or a lot of the decision makers that end up coming back and establishing their businesses in Dubai. Today, Dubai houses, I would say, many Fortune 500 companies that have taken Dubai as their regional or their global hub. So I think that kind of indicates the kind of potential that Dubai has. When you look at the business infrastructure as a whole, we have several free zones as well. So people, when they establish their businesses in Dubai, if they don't want to be on land, they have multiple options with different regulations that makes it easier for people to decide on how they would want to set up their regional or global presence out of Dubai as well. So there's a lot of features when you look at the infrastructure, from the IT, from the road and transport, the connectivity of Dubai, being the busiest international airport in the world with over 90 million passengers traveling through its doors every year. It just shows you why Dubai is a hub for business events as well as establishing their headquarters.
I'm just wondering, I mean, because on the one side, there's a business side of things and trying to be a business, somewhat becoming a business capital, because
Yes.
we have all these, big companies, banks, and the rest of them establishing even HQs
Yes.
in Dubai. That's on the one hand for business, and then of course you're pushing very strongly on the tourism. So do you want to have the best of both worlds? Is that what you're trying to establish?
Absolutely. I think for us, they both work hand in hand. If you look at it from a events perspective, right? The first big event, major event that Dubai had won was in 2003 when they won the IMF. At that point in time, people were questioning how would Dubai, it was virtually unknown at that time, be hosting such an important event with so much logistical complications, security and all that stuff. Dubai actually pulled off one of the most successful and smoothest events in their history. So at that point in time, it catapulted Dubai and it made it much easier, I would say, for Dubai to be able to win a lot of events, including the one that's coming around the corner now, which is the World Expo. So it kind of shows you that in itself aids us in a lot. So when you have that safety mark already checked, because those events are coming in, that kind of signifies to the travelers, the tourists, that Dubai is a safe destination for them and their family. If we establish a strong base for leisure travel, then you will see that a lot of people who are moving or relocating their regional or global headquarters to Dubai, it becomes easier for them to convince people to move and relocate them with their families to Dubai as well. So all of that is kind of intertwined the way we see it.
Speaking about events, the World Expo 2020, talk to us about that. I mean, what you're trying to achieve and what participants can expect.
The way that we see it is World Expo is, of course, I mean, for the people who are aware, they know the importance of that event. It's been running now for over 100 odd years and leaving behind such legacies that people might not necessarily know that it relates back to the Expo. So the Eiffel Tower was actually erected for an Expo. If you look at now what's become a football stadium, for Crystal Palace in the UK, was the site of the first Expo event that happened in the world, and many, many others. Things like ketchup was launched to the world for the first time at an Expo, as was an ice cream cone, and many other things as well. So then people need to realize that it's not a business event per se. There is that element, but there's also something for everyone. There are going to be entertainment events there. There's going to be so many things that are happening. For us, for Dubai, what we pride ourselves is being an international destination. So to us, we looked at it as a perspective of to become the most visited by international visitors when it comes to an Expo. So we always like to put challenges out there, ambitious targets for ourselves that we want to challenge us as a city to be able to achieve as well. And we don't think Expo is going to be a disappointment.
But is there a particular legacy you want to achieve, to leave behind after this Expo?
I think the importance of this Expo is exactly in the location that we've left behind. And if you see the leadership within Dubai, they said they want to make sure that we are looking at what happens post-Expo with the site that's there as well. So for us, most of the buildings that are constructed there are going to then evolve into many other purpose-built venues in its own right. So with exhibition facilities happening there, a lot of office facilities for many of the companies that will be established between now and the Expo time as well, to be housed there as well. Plus the community that will be living and thriving there as well, connected to the Dubai World Central Airport, as well as the Dubai ports so that logistics hub that's going to be created within that zone.
What about African countries? Well, what level of participation are we expecting?
We've got commitment, from what I understand, from over 20 African countries already, and Nigeria being one of them as well. Obviously, like I said, there's so many things that are coming in there from a business perspective, but also if you're looking at it from the mass audience side, we're very excited to see the cultural elements and the content that will be created by each one of these pavilions and these participants, and how they will be bringing their own influence to use this as a platform to reach out to the world.
Now, obviously, I mean, building the hotels, the theme parks, all of it, it's all money. It's all, we're talking money here and investments. Talk to us about that side of, the money aspect of all of this, how all of this has been funded, private sector capital, and how it's all coming together.
If you look at it again historically, Dubai has built its success, yes, on visionary leadership, of course, but also part of that visionary leadership was how we bring the private and public sector to work alongside one another. And going forward for our future, that is paramount for our success as well. So you see the investments that are going into all of these facilities. The idea is, what is it that we're looking for the long run? So when we established, as per the strategy, increasing the number of hotel rooms, and we moved from 68,000 to 100 and just shy of 120 as it stands today, with the plan for it to increase a bit more as well, is not with just an event in mind, but the several events that follows that, and the several growth of leisure tourism off the back of that as well. But what we did was, one of the things, just to show you the collaboration side of it, is we, for example, knew that there will be a demand for 3 and 4 star sector hotels. We knew that the investment should go towards that segment. So the municipality released an incentive that waived off the 10% municipality fees for anyone, for 5 years, for anyone who invests in the 3 and 4 star sector, making it a lot more lucrative or quicker in terms of the ROI for the investment that goes into that segment of hotels as well. So those are the kind of things that we're trying to do to incentivize, encourage investment to go in the right areas to create that win-win situation for both.
I'm just trying to, the big picture, which, well, you painted that to a large extent. At what point would you begin to say, I suppose until you're number one, then
yes,
begin to say, okay, let's just pull back a bit and just take a step back and look at all that we've been able to build and achieve. At what point? Just looking at with the pace at which things are going, maybe a difficult question for you to answer. But at what point are you hoping that you could begin to get a good shot at number one, and just taking a step back and saying, you know what, it's all been worth it. We're number one or number two or whatever, but we are almost there.
I think, for us, it's to build sustainability. That's key for us. And by that, in order to achieve it, we need to make sure that we don't jeopardize on quality or experience. Because, it takes years and years and years to build that brand, but it takes one bad experience to really tarnish it as well. So that's something that we're very, very cognizant of as well. And working with the partners that we are working with from the public and the private side, we've ensured that the growth that we're seeing at one stage is playing catch up to many other destinations that have been around far longer than Dubai has. But at the same time, keeping a close eye to making sure that there's a demand and supply match. There was some time ago where people knew that demand outstripped supply, and it built that perception that Dubai is too expensive. A lot of people would love to go to Dubai aspirationally, but they'd always follow that comment with, but I can't afford it. And if I'm being absolutely honest, that wasn't the case, because there was an affordable Dubai even back then, but it was maybe lesser pushed out in terms of its messaging. So we've made a conscious effort now to bring that message out, to make sure that people understand that regardless of what the budget is, you can find a Dubai that matches your interest.
I think this point would be a good question for me to ask this, because this is all happening in the context of weaker global economic growth. If you just look at projections from the IMF, World Bank, and what we're seeing across the globe, it would appear that there's a bit of pressure on consumer wallets, not for the 1%, for the bigger middle class, lower middle class population that of course want to come to a place like Dubai. Is that in any way, are you taking cognizance of that? Are you taking that into consideration?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I think, again, if you look at not just the hotel offerings, Dubai has so many experiences when it comes to retail side of things. And again, like I said, when you look at the retail events or the retail partners that we've built strong relationship with and built a calendar with them to understand when are those sale moments and celebration moments that people can come and enjoy retail without necessarily paying the big ticket items, right? And at the same time, from a gastronomy scene, Dubai has, in terms of its health standards and quality standards of food, it's really, really high. So you can enjoy, regardless of how much you're spending, real good quality food anywhere in Dubai. And you have these older parts, neighborhoods in Dubai, that you have restaurants that have been established by a family, by a father, who the sons are running now the restaurant, have been there for over 40 years in that same location, and the menu hasn't evolved or changed. And it's in a small little space within an old part of town, and you cannot imagine the quality of tourists and even the big spenders who go there and buy plates that are costing them $3 and amazing quality food. So there are all of these things that are yet to be discovered and explored in Dubai. And that's why I say, for us, getting the repeat visitation is also a target, because we know what Dubai has to offer, the ease of access, the proximity to many countries, the fact that the visa policies are becoming easier and easier is just a no-brainer. So even if you're coming for a short break with a very tight budget, or for a longer break with a lot of money to spend, there is something for everyone.
Something for everybody. I was just going to say that. Well, I guess we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Issam, for talking to us today. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you for
on the show.
having
And of
me.
course, all the best with all of those
Thank you.
targets for Dubai tourism. I've been speaking to Issam Kazim. He's the CEO at Dubai Tourism, looking at, of course, the country's strategy to attract more visitors to the country. That's it on Beyond Markets. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Remember that you can watch the show or all previous episodes of Beyond Markets on our website at CNBCAfrica.com. You can also stay engaged with the hashtag Beyond Markets. And of course, you can follow my Twitter handle too. It's at Esther O. Awoni. For myself and the team, it's bye for now.